as the text I sent you guys earlier when I was saying that it'd be nice to have him for like the 5 games that he would play until like his like face breaks or
Mhm.
like his foot falls off or something.
Hi, welcome back to the Schlabcast. My name is Andy, and I'm here with Jeff and Caleb. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Doing great.
Great to see you guys. Going to the NFL, free agency is upon us. We do have some breaking news, or not so breaking news, I guess you could say. Just mentioned in the news via Twitter from Rich Eisen, there was some speculation that Tom Brady might be coming back to the NFL once again. They're linking him possibly to the Miami Dolphins. Twitter started to go wild. Not too much later, actually, it looks like Tom Brady had shot that down a little bit. He had replied saying, anyone who thinks I have time to come back to the NFL has never adopted a 2-month-old kitten for their daughter. So maybe not so much in the cards, but still, I feel like rumors like this don't just come from nowhere, regardless of maybe he doesn't come back. Just real quickly, just touching up on it. What are your thoughts about Tom Brady returning possibly to the Dolphins?
He's right. I don't have any idea what it's like to adopt a 2-month-old cat. That is absolutely not my wheelhouse. I guess he just cannot stay away from the game. You're just gonna have to put him in the ground. But if he were to come back, it would have to be a team pretty desperate. And he might just run that case of I'm going to wait until the season starts and see who gets injured first and come back to a team that, needs me. So
I don't think he would wait that long. I mean, that is an option, but I think if he's going to go anywhere, he's going to definitely, like you said, go to a contender immediately. I don't know. I thought when he retired, we were all a little surprised, and I thought it was 50-50 then that he would come back. I still kind of feel the same. Still, you have no idea what is going on in that guy's head or family life or dynamics like that, or who he actually would be interested to play for maybe another year or two.
I agree with you guys. He makes the game better, just being in the NFL in general. And one thing I just like to just speculate on, regardless of if he does return or not, I just think it would be cool. Just kind of imagining just the AFC East for a moment, just like you have Josh Allen and the Bills, right? But then you also have Brady possibly joining the Dolphins. And then say you have the New England Patriots, his old team as well. And then possibly Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. So kind of just imagining that whole dynamic, of all
Yeah.
those. That would be kind of crazy. And speaking of Rodgers, it appears that the whole front office of the Jets is flying over to meet with him now and trying to sway him to not retire. Your thoughts on that, guys?
Did he say the retire thing after he came out of the
Out of the dark?
quiet retreat thing? Yeah. Is that when he brought that up?
I don't know exactly. I believe he's kind of just been a little bit back and forth, to be honest. He's
Okay.
really just kind of weighing his options. He's just not 100% either way. So
He's definitely still under contract for a while, right?
I believe
I'm
so.
pretty sure he
Yes.
signed that huge one last offseason, right? That kind of handicapped them or whatever. The Jets would absolutely love to get Aaron Rodgers. I know they would love that. They couldn't get anybody to be quarterback for them for more than a few games last year. I don't know.
So he signed
That's
a
crazy.
3-year, $150 million contract extension in March of 22. And he has $59.5 million guaranteed if he plays in this upcoming season, which carries a salary cap charge of 31.5. He's expensive. Out of all those scenarios, though, with Rivers and Brady and Rodgers, and just, I mean, even Brady going back to the Pats, that Rodgers going to the Jets seems the most likely. And really, that team is about one stable quarterback away from making it happen. So if they're feeling like rolling the dice on him, then I mean, that could be a good bet for them. We saw that the Bills are kind of hurt. They're not maybe as good as we thought. I expect them to be a lot more high powered than what we saw throughout the whole season.
Do you think that would make the Jets the favorite if they were to land Rodgers?
Yes.
It depends on if Diggs stays, obviously, in Buffalo. Just being a Cowboys fan, there's a lot of backdoor talk apparently on him coming and joining his brother in Dallas, and there's just, back and forth on Twitter and everything there. And really, if we just had a downfield threat on the receiver side, that offense explodes a little bit more there. So if the Bills stay intact, I just keep them because I think that home field is something real. I don't know if it is for the Jets.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think there is something to be said for like developing chemistry and all of that. I think it takes some time, but I do like the idea of like pairing Rodgers with those young weapons. You know, they have Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore, and then the running back, Brees Hall. I know he's just coming off of injury, but I like those pieces together. And then going back to another retired quarterback at the moment who's kind of looking to jump back in. What are your thoughts on Phillip Rivers? Also via Rich Eisen, it says that he's looking to possibly join the 49ers or the Dolphins. Your guys' thoughts on that?
49ers would be a great fit for him.
That'd be cool.
Wouldn't be, as far to travel, I guess, than Miami, but I'm pretty sure he actually moved his whole family to Florida.
I swear to God, I saw him last year driving in San Diego with in that big
In
crazy
the giant
Mercedes
Sprinter van.
Yeah, on Sunday going up to the church there at Escondido.
It's possible.
He went right by me, and there's only one dude with that block shape of a head.
Patrick has seen him at that church before. For sure. I'd love for him to come to Houston. Honestly, I think he'd be a great fit there. I don't know. I don't think he could go to an offense that would want to ask him to do a ton, kind of like what he had to do in Indy when he was there.
Terrible fit.
It wasn't really a great fit, but he still kind of willed them, I think, to like 9-7 and made the playoffs. Jonathan Taylor probably, I think, had a good year. But if he can go to the Niners or somebody that's like just ready and he could just throw screens and dump passes and just get guys like the offense of the 49ers guys, rack yardage and whatever, that would be a great fit.
I like that a lot too. And I know you mentioned the Texans, Jeff, which I know is your team. They are rumored to be interested in Garoppolo, possibly as like a placeholder until they draft a quarterback early in this upcoming draft. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about Garoppolo?
Yeah. Well, as the text I sent you guys earlier when I was saying that, it'd be nice to have him for like the 5 games that he would play until like his like face breaks or like his foot falls off or something. But is that enough time to, kind of like have maybe a rookie quarterback take over after and have a great rest of a rookie season type of a thing, like a Brock Purdy type of situation? Like I'd love for something like that to happen. I don't want Jimmy G to get hurt, obviously, but I think they should still get a veteran quarterback or somebody rather than just, going right into like, obviously everyone thinks they're going to draft a quarterback at number 2 overall. So are those guys going to be ready? I don't know. Just think back to the Rivers generation. Those guys were number 1 draft picks and they still sat 2-3 years before playing. I know that's not as common anymore, but I think a rookie quarterback could really use a lot of that and get a ton of knowledge from a Jimmy G or a Phillip Rivers or somebody like that.
I was hearing from some scouts that even they have seen the pace of play over the past 6 or 7 years. The jump from college to NFL is just astronomical. Like there's a big gap going from high school to college play, but that gap is felt much more now on the jump from college to NFL. Like the athleticism is just off the charts. We're hitting the generations now that they picked football at 6 years old and they had personal trainers and they played every, season for, a decade plus all the way through high school. And then this has been their whole thing. And you can kind of see that with Bryce Young. It's just like a more specialized athlete. So we'll see. I agree with you though. I want rookie quarterbacks to sit. The year of the rookie phenoms, I think are long gone, unless it's someone real special. But even look at Trevor Lawrence. He was not looking great to start out there. I thought he was going to turn into another dud.
I do blame Urban Meyer for that.
Fair.
Did you have a valid point too?
The difference between Doug Peterson and Urban Meyer is astronomical, for sure.
Also the same.
And just sorry, Jeff, do you want to add one more thing?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I do agree with the Texans' thought process. I think it makes sense to get a veteran. I think it works in their favor to have Jimmy Garoppolo. I guess the one thing I would say is I don't necessarily know if it's in Jimmy Garoppolo's best interest. He might feel like he still can be the franchise quarterback or starting quarterback and not want to necessarily teach Bryce Young
Yeah,
or Stroud right away. So
Mhm.
there's
I
always that
totally agree with that too.
dynamic
Yeah.
too. And then some of the bigger news that actually dropped today as well, Lamar Jackson. So the Ravens, they put their non-exclusive franchise tag on him. So basically what that means is that he can speak with other teams and negotiate on a deal. The Ravens do have the option to match their offer sheets. Otherwise, they would receive 2 first-round picks as compensation. Just
Mm.
your thoughts on that? Do you think Lamar Jackson goes elsewhere? Any possible teams you might link him to? Just what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think me personally, I would not want him. I think he's turning into a little bit of a head case, and that kind of spreads throughout the locker room. I think he stays with the Ravens though. Overall, I think maybe he talks to other teams and there's some conversations, but I think in the long run he stays there.
I also think he's probably going to stay. I wouldn't be super surprised if they do this franchise thing. Can they still renegotiate or something, or is that just like blanket? You can only get that contract for this year type of thing.
I would have to go back and research and look exactly, but I
Yeah,
believe that they would. I believe it's like a designated amount.
because it's like franchise like top 5 players of the position.
It's the top 5 average salaries at the
Yeah,
position.
but I don't know anything about this non-exclusive one. I've never heard of that before.
I think that's new from the newer CBA.
The fact that it's a non-exclusive makes it so other teams can talk to him. They couldn't really negotiate before, but now it kind of opens the
Gotcha.
door now. I think it's possible that he could leave. I don't necessarily know where. Right after the news broke that they placed a tag, a lot of teams were denying that they're interested, but that doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily mean anything. It's interesting because he's also, I don't believe he has an agent. He kind of represents himself, which could also be taking longer. And then one other thing is that I kind of side with him is the guaranteed money. And it has to do with Deshaun Watson's guaranteed money. And it's like if he got X amount of money, I deserve at least that amount.
Can't believe Browns
That
gave him
the
that
Deshaun
much.
Watson contract is ruined a
Oh
lot of
my
things.
God. Same with Russell Wilson. Both those guys are just, oh, Jesus. So bad. So bad.
Yeah. And it really handicaps your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just tell that that guy's a scumbag because of that contract alone. Oh, I regret ever falling for the lust of his playmaking ability because you clearly know he's not a good person. Did you want to touch on any of the other the 3 quarterbacks that
Yeah.
signed?
Derek Carr, 4 years, 150 million to New Orleans Saints.
Nice.
We
They're now
have
the favorites. Half I was telling Andy earlier. They're the favorites to win
Oh,
the South
that's a lot of money.
for real.
when you look at the other teams that are in that division at the moment, their starting quarterbacks, you have Derek Carr, Kyle Trask, PJ Walker, and Desmond Ritter.
I
Now,
love Desmond. Give me some Desmond, but yeah, for
Yeah.
real,
I mean
he is
that
way
division
better.
is ripe for the taking.
Yeah.
So
so
we'll see. I don't really like their coach that much. We'll see. I don't know. Derek Carr's numbers last year were worse than all the Saints quarterbacks combined last year. Is that really an upgrade? They're kind of hoping Derek Carr bounces back, I guess.
I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air. I think
Yeah.
that'll actually work out pretty good. He's a level-headed dude. He's not going to come in thinking all these people owe me now and everything. He's there to be the leader. So,
and then we also have Daniel Jones, New York Giants. At the very last minute, he negotiated a deal, so he also got 4 years. His is $160 million. I don't know the guaranteed in comparison to Carr, but it is in terms of just the total amount. It is the same as Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford's contracts.
82 guaranteed.
82 guaranteed.
So
And
like
then just
half.
and then just touching up one more, so we have Geno Smith, 3 years, a little cheaper, $105 million.
Good for him.
That's still 35 a year. Oh my gosh.
For someone that you could argue
2
had
mil a game.
one good year.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
one
real.
comeback player of the year.
He earned it
So
for sure.
that's absolutely well earned. I mean, what else do you do though? I mean, you can't argue with a good year, I guess. So they kind of had to like
Hey.
say, okay, I guess. That's why I didn't like how much money Denver gave Russell.
Yeah, who do you want
He was
more?
completely unproven there and had an awful last year with the Seahawks, and then goes off, has another awful year, but now his contract's fully guaranteed and they're screwed if he's not good. I guess Geno showed that he could, work a system with Pete Carroll, but there's just a lot of money being thrown at these guys.
Yeah, the quarterback market is just going up like crazy. I have no idea what the Eagles are going to do with Jalen Hurts this upcoming year for an extension, but that could be massive as well. And just touching back on those quarterbacks, Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, at those deals and those prices, do you guys have a preference? Which quarterback would you have if you had to pick between those?
Carr.
Like, it's crazy to me because all these guys seem like B quarterbacks. They're not bad.
Oh yeah,
but they're not A's,
that's just how the market works.
So they're all getting 35 plus a year. What are the Texans going to have to pay Jimmy G just to have him start for 6 games, like 30 million or something? Like, all 3 of those teams better go to the playoffs after investing that much money in a quarterback. That's all I got to say. So they must think that something is going to happen there, that they all have a chance. New Orleans, you guys made a good point about the division being weak. I don't know.
Uphill climb for the other ones.
NFC West is not that weak, I don't think, anymore. I think the Cardinals have a bounce back season. I think the Rams have a bounce back season.
The Niners are good.
Now we'll see about Seattle. They still won 9 games last year. So can they do the same thing?
They were a ball bounce from making the playoffs.
Yeah. I would take I want to say I'd probably take Daniel Jones, to be honest. I'm just not really a Derek Carr fan. He had that one good season with the Raiders, and everything else has just kind of been meh. And I've seen Daniel Jones make more plays, I think, over the last couple of years. Geno Smith's at the bottom of the list for me. Sorry, buddy. Nothing against you, but I wouldn't pick you top.
Yeah, I'd probably go Carr, Jones, Smith, but it's all pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, same. Love that Daniel Jones is getting a long-term contract, I guess, because whatever. for us, that's just great. We know exactly what to expect.
Absolutely.
He's going to be fantastic in September, and everyone's going to rave about him. And then as soon as it gets a little cold and there's film on him for the season, gone. So whatever.
They did me and Caleb's teams a favor for sure.
real.
I also don't think that they have as good of a year as they had last year with that coach guy. I think they had squeezed out a few lucky wins.
He's got to give like half of that contract to Brian Dable.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. Probably. That's probably written into the thing. The guaranteed money has to go to this guy. Out of all the people we talked about, I like either Rivers or Garoppolo more than those guys, to be honest. And Garoppolo and Rivers will get less money than these 3 guys that we just talked about, but I feel like they might be able to do something more with a better team.
Just going back to the Niners really fast. If you were the Niners, assuming Brock Purdy is fully recovered, and just after having all this talk about the quarterback market and everything like that, if you were the Niners and you were very close in the NFC Championship, would you try to get a Rivers, or would you just bite the bullet and just be like, let's just stick with Brock Purdy and keep it cheap?
Roll with Purdy. Spend your money elsewhere. Protect Purdy. Get a better offensive line if you can.
Yeah,
that was the only downfall, is he got hurt. Who knows what would happen? I know you're an Eagles fan and everything, but who knows?
I think the system is a little more to claim the success of what they had with him. But I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, why spend the money elsewhere when you have like 3 guys to choose from? I'd say Jimmy G's starting quarterback of the Niners to start the year, though. Unless he gets traded, then it's going to be Purdy. I think Trey Lance is gone. You had 2 chances, broke your leg twice or whatever. Sorry. It's just shitty. It's happened to RG3. It happened to a lot of people. They had great potential and they just couldn't stay healthy enough to show
it's
it.
Business.
Anything else you guys want to add?
The latest thing I heard today, just before I got on here, was that Cowboys were trying to get Hopkins.
Whoa.
Cool.
Great.
You were talking about downfield threat.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Wow,
I don't think Kyler Murray would want to lose that, but I don't think Andy would be too happy about that
Would you
either.
rather Caleb, would you rather have Stephon Diggs or DeAndre Hopkins?
Hopkins. That guy is just so good. He's so good. And he's
Yeah.
just so he's mean without even talking. He's just intimidating. He's big. He gets way up and has great timing, so he can just pin the ball higher than everyone else. And he's just a smart dude out on the field. He's just always open. Like he's double teamed constantly, or there's the best defender on him, but he's just open. And him and Jamar Chase have kind of the same game. Diggs is much faster, still incredibly smart, but does not have that size. And that size you can't beat. There's a reason Gronk was Gronk. There's a reason Calvin Johnson was Calvin Johnson. And it is that you have a size. So, Dez had size too, and that, it worked to his advantage. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Roll with that.
I think they'd be pretty nasty if they
Yeah.
got D-Hop for sure.
Yeah, you can't argue with either one. I actually thought you might have said Diggs just because I thought, like, when you mentioned he was faster, I was thinking about it like he might complement CeeDee Lamb a little bit better. You can't
Cooper
argue
wasn't crazy fast, but he could get downfield and just, make the correct play when he needed to. So speed's not everything. Definitely helps. That's not a dig at Diggs, So, but anyway.
For sure.
All right. Well, anything else you guys want to add?
I think that's it.
No, that was good for today. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, for Jeff and for Caleb, my name's Andy, and thank you guys for tuning into the Schlabcast.
All right. Catch you guys
Shaba.
later.
Shaba.
Shaba.